going to be great. Billy Joel's going to send us off. I knew when it happened. I heard you make a noise, so I said I'll hear that tomorrow.
Yeah. Good evening to Michael.
I got to get more K.
Good evening to Don.
Just scroll down the contest, submit your entry.
That was louder than the last one that was a big deal.
Was that enhanced?
No, I think that was natural.
Just scroll down the contest, submit your entry.
And good evening to myself. Good evening to myself.
Swallow the nuts.
Excuse me?
Swallow the nuts.
That could almost be a song. That might be the new theme song of the show.
Oh, I like that.
Swallow the nuts.
Oh, how about,
By the way,
naming the show Sniff 'em Dead?
And I think you took out the words Michael from that drop, guys, which would really make it even more appropriate, Don, as the theme song of the new show. We've had a tough hour, Don. Tough hour 20 for us.
Why so?
Listen, I'll be all right.
Because, Michael likes to pick up the callers who, you didn't know this one, but the guy who just buried me and Don. I'd like to let everybody know right now just that the jokes about the show should be called the Michael K. Show or the Alan Hahn Show or the Post K Show.
They hurt.
No, they don't hurt. They're just dumb. Just so you know, we've heard everyone imaginable so far, correct?
Yes. And
it's literally every single joke all the time. It's fantastic. So just so you know, bring them. They're really, really creative stuff. Guys, a lot is happening in the world right now. So much I don't even know what to say about it. Where do we even possibly start? How about with Jeff Passan, who I think in the long run will be coming with me and Don. That's just a prediction, Don. I think in the long run we get Passan.
Yeah,
Give it time.
I think you're right.
Give it time.
See, but the beauty of this, Peter, is Don doesn't want anybody. Guest means he talks less.
You know what? That's not what it's about.
Here's the perfect world for me. That Mike Lupica chooses us. And then I say I'm good. That's the perfect world. I still want to be chosen, but then have the right of first refusal.
That is very, very you.
There's going to be a lot of guests on my show, guys.
Of course. That's
it has
fantastic.
to. You're sitting by yourself for 2 hours a day.
I can talk for 2 hours by myself.
No, you can't.
Of course
Not if you want to do good radio.
No, you can't. Not well.
Well, at the end of his career, Mike Francesa spoke for 5 hours.
Right? So that's what you're striving for? Have fun.
By the way, do you think that's considered a good period in his career?
But still, he was able to do it, so don't tell me I'm not able to do it.
No, but he could do it.
And this is just 2 hours. It's a layup to talk for 2 hours.
Do you listen to a lot of radio personally? That's just one person talking for 2 hours?
Colin Cowherd. He's great.
No, but he's got a sidekick there, doesn't he?
Rush Limbaugh.
Sometimes.
Who's no longer with us.
You're naming shows
that literally killed him.
Yeah. I don't know if that's true. All right. Let's get into Jeff Passan, who was on baseball tonight. And he says, listen, the Yankees are just fine missing out on Juan Soto.
The Yankees lost out on Juan Soto and might be better off. And it's one of those situations where the baseball people, they look at this and they weren't rooting for Soto not to sign with them, but it didn't kill them all that much. And here's the thing. This is not a good baseball deal. In the context of everything else in the sport, it is an exceptional overpay. But it also shows you that when a guy is 26 years old and the caliber of Juan Soto and he hits free agency, it's a bonanza. Age matters more than just about anything. Talent matters, don't get me wrong, but when you can combine talent and age, the world is your oyster.
I have to disagree with Jeff.
Well, again, second time in a week.
Love it.
I mean, the Yankees are going to be better off than why'd they invest $860 million? $760? It doesn't make sense. I mean, or was it all a lie? Why'd they want to pay $760 million for 16 years if they didn't think it made them better? And I know the people behind the scenes, they want to be creative, they want to be the geniuses and all that. So now they see an opportunity to build their own team. And it could turn out to be good. But you can't sit here before we see how it turns out and say, this is going to be good for the Yankees. How could losing Juan Soto be good for the Yankees? How? How is that possible?
So, what I would ask Jeff is there a disconnect between the baseball people and Hal Steinbrenner? Because if the baseball people were, well, I don't want to say rooting, then why did they even spend time? Why didn't they just say, no, we're good. We're not going to spend that much money on one player. We're going to fill holes other places. What, did they not have the guts to say that? Or did they think it would be a PR disaster to say that? Or is this kind of what happens when you lose out? Oh, I didn't want to date you anyway. So I'm glad you said no. Well, then why did you ask in the first place? Or are you trying to tell me that Hal wanted it and the baseball people didn't?
I think that's a possibility, Don, because I don't think the baseball people wanted to give Judge that 9th year. So I believe that there are different factions. And Hal Steinbrenner is not just worried about, building a team. That's the first thing he's worried about. But he also has to build his brand. And part of the brand is having Aaron Judge retire as a Yankee. Another part of the brand and the Yes Network to have people tune in is to have a guy like Juan Soto for the next 16 years. So they might be at loggerheads.
But but it's so interesting. And at the end of the day, I guess it doesn't matter because we're going to find out who ends up winning by who wins the World Series and who's the better baseball team. But, Peter, tell me if I'm wrong. It feels like we're trying over the last few days to explain how the Mets really didn't win and the Yankees really didn't lose. But meanwhile, we spent months and months. Who's going to get Juan Soto? I'm going to stop being a Yankee fan if I don't get Juan Soto. Why did we get Steve Cohen if we're not going to get Juan Soto? And now it feels like, well, the team that didn't get him ended up winning. Or is that just a loser's lament?
And so I guess they would have said the same thing, Don. Think about it. If the Mets did not get Soto, we'd be saying, well, this is going to turn out. So then why did anybody want Soto? Well, why would anybody want Soto? Because that would have been the same thing they would have said about, now they've got this money to spend on other things. Well, the Yankees are going to be better off. How could you be better off losing a generational player? I need that to be explained to me. Now, it could turn out that they do brilliant things. The Max Fried signing is a good signing. But is it an overpay? Yes, but everything's an overpay. The Red Sox just overpaid in prospects for Garrett Crochet. But you can't sell me the Yankees are better off not having Juan Soto. That's disingenuous, and it's not true.
Yeah, because
let's.
I'm sorry, Peter.
No, I was just before we get into what we've been talking about for 3 days straight during ENN also, let's just get a little more info. We have Brian Cashman speaking about this as well. And Cashman gives credit to Soto for getting his money and talks about how the Yankees need to move forward.
You got to tip your hat to Juan Soto for obviously navigating his career to free agency through 3 different teams to put himself in a position to make a choice for the next 15 years of his life for him and his family, and that's what it's all about. So from the Yankees standpoint, no retreat, no surrender. We get back after it and find a way to put together a roster that our fans are going to be excited about, and we think will take us a chance. We want to defend that American League title and get back in the World Series and try to win it. So we'll get after it.
That's fine. I'm okay with that. Yeah, I don't think they should be in a fetal position because they lost out on a Michael. But the whole narrative of, this is how they wanted it to play out anyway. And come on, give me a break. So when you got the phone call he signed with the Mets, they were high-fiving each other?
Yeah, that's what it makes it sound like, right? And you're right. Of course you don't go into a fetal position. Now you go and you pivot and you go, okay, let's try to make ourselves better. But when you have Juan Soto, you know how good you are. You saw it last year.
In some of the lamest news you'll ever hear.
I love lame news.
Love lame.
An Ohio lawmaker is attempting to make flag planting in the middle of Ohio Stadium
Clown show! Clown show!
something worse than punishable by pepper spray. Ohio State Representative Josh Williams introduced a bill yesterday that would classify flag planting at Ohio Stadium around Buckeyes football games as a felony.
We suck.
I mean, you might as well just, if that happens, just give up the program. Just walk away.
These politicians, the bills they come up with, why don't you pave a road?
Hey, listen, if Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy have their way, this guy'll never get away with this.
Beat Michigan.
How about that?
And you don't have to worry about any flag planting. Be better.
Make it a felony to lose to Michigan at home.
A felony.
Felony, Don. Mike Don, I have great news for you.
Mike Don? Who's Mike Don?
Mike Don.
That's the combination of me and you.
The NFL will now be playing a regular season game in Berlin for the first time.
Oh, don't care.
Because when you think football, you think Germany.
Well, because
it's the fifth regular season game in Germany. And
Does my TV do I sense anything different when I'm watching it on TV where it is?
Yeah,
No.
you sense that you have to sit through Rich Eisen, and you sense that the crowd has paid audience members.
Right. Do I get endless meat when I watch those games in Brazil?
They don't give you endless meat. Well, you know what, Don? That depends on your personal life. The NFL has played games.
Swallow the nuts.
The NFL has played games in Munich and Frankfurt since 2022.
So why not
Good
Berlin?
news.
Don't care.
What do you say?
Why not Berlin?
Why not? If you're going to do Munich and Frankfurt, where are you going to go? You might as well. Germany, quote, has a rich tradition of American football, and the NFL has a deep history with the city of Berlin.
Yeah, you know what the NFL has? A deep history of trying to create another television package on Sunday mornings to make more money.
You know what?
I wonder, guys, are we going to get more random than Brazil for an NFL game? Because that was really random. Can we get more random is the question.
I don't know. What are we missing, Peter?
Ecuador. We've done Mexico. We've done Germany. We've done London, England. We've done Brazil. Am I missing any?
What's the big city in Portugal?
Lisbon.
There you go, Lisbon. Bang.
Oh, let me tell you right now, there is a tradition, a history of the NFL in
It's
Lisbon.
thick.
I think they're building a stadium for football in the Galapagos Islands. They're going to go there.
Is that true?
Yeah, they're going to go
That's
there.
right.
I would love to see that. That would be important. You guys want to go back to an important moment in the history of the show?
Yeah.
Oh, love it. Love it. This
All
is my
the way
favorite
back
one.
to August of 2011.
I'll ask you straight out. Is Eli Manning an elite quarterback? Are you a top 5, top 10 quarterback?
Yeah.
I can't believe that's considered, like that turned into such a thing.
Well, why wouldn't it?
Because it's like, his answer is so bait. It's just like, yeah.
Yeah, but it goes on from there. I go, really? Which was rude.
But the point is, looking back, it seems benign. But at that time, it looked like, whoa, what's he talking about?
I mean, he was already a Super Bowl in.
But he still wasn't looked upon as an elite quarterback. And then that year, Peter, that year, not later on, that year wins the Super Bowl.
It is impressive. He's an impressive gentleman.
That is a big. I mean, I understand that the
I just
audio
mean the
doesn't
sound.
sell it.
Yeah, considering how big it was, him going, yeah, doesn't sound
Right.
that
If
big.
it would have sounded, they should have put a sound effect of him turning over a table.
Exactly.
Like, how dare you, Michael? Of course I'm an elite quarterback. Who are you? And then you hear the table flip over, and he storms off.
And I'm like screaming underneath the table.
I don't think. No,
Wait. What kind of screaming was
I was
that?
moaning.
Yeah.
Something broke.
but it's almost like the table hit you in a certain way.
Don, Michael, I think I speak for myself, Don, and our listening audience when I say, please stop making those sounds. I'm begging you on behalf of.
Yeah, it's like Michael was stroked by the table.
This
I'd be whimpering.
is this what we can expect on the new show?
Wait a minute, Peter. 22 and a half years I've worked with this guy. I've never heard him make that sound. And now on the third to last day.
Listen, we have a lot to look forward to. Also tonight, your NBA Cup quarterfinals, the New York Knickerbockers hosting the Hawks at 7 o'clock. It's an ESPN and MSG vehicle, but of course I'll be watching on MSG, Don.
Of course, now especially.
And 9:30.
This is a bad choice by you, Peter.
I don't think.
Because now you're going up against the company you work for. You don't work for MSG.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, TNT, you should be watching MSG, but now you're sucking up to Alan Hahn.
You know what? It's a great point by Michael. I will. How about this? I will watch pre and post on MSG so I can get some Hahn hits, and then I'll watch the sweet, sweet, dulcet tones of what I'm guessing will still be a Mike Breen vehicle on ESPN.
You're right.
Now at 9:30, The Rockets will host the Warriors in the second half. That one's on TNTW. And that'll do it for ENN on this Wednesday, December 11th, guys. We have one more studio ENN on this show ever tomorrow. ENN tonight is brought to you by Security Dodge. Shop 24/7 at securitydodge.com during the Wrap Up the Year sales event.
Don?
I'm being serious when I say I don't want to hear it anymore. Don, I think our show could get canceled if we keep doing this.
This is off brand.
How about Bat Fitter, Don?
That's on brand. Don LaGreca here to tell you about my friends.